This is Grigory with Vesta Preferred, and I am coming back at you with the Q1 2023 report for the Chicago downtown and surrounding area report. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about how numbers for Q1 have turned up, and now that they have been reported by the Chicago Association of REALTORS officially, we have all of the 77 different beautiful neighborhoods of Chicago that have reported all of the real estate stats for Q1. They quantified, they qualified all the data, and then kind of spit it out into these different categories. And what I do is then I look at the different specific categories. I know what people are most interested in: average selling price, market time, hey Greg, where are places selling faster, all of that stuff. And now I'm going to report to you on the top 3 places for average selling price. I'm going to also talk about where our property is sitting for the longest with the most market time, where are they selling the quickest for least amount of market time. And then I'm also going to make some predictions for Q2, possibly going into Q3, of some of the best places to buy when it comes from 3 different categories: single family housing, attached, meaning condos, and multi-units, so those investment properties, 2 to 4 unit property buys. There's a lot of good data here, and if you are thinking about buying in 2023 in the next few months, this is some really good stuff for you to consider, depending on what you're specifically looking to buy. So let's get right into it. All right. Our first category, we're going to be talking about single family homes, and the first Q1 category for single family homes we're going to be discussing is the average selling prices, as in where were the top 3 highest average selling prices in Q1 for single family homes in the city. Number 1 should be no surprise, near North Side. The average selling price for a single family there was just over $2.5 million. Number 2 is Lincoln Park, again, not a surprise, just over $2 million. And number 3 was Lakeview. Okay, the top 3 most expensive areas continue to be that, and Lakeview's average was about 1.5 million plus. Now, market time. This is a lot more in line with where I think market slumps can be seen, as well as where markets are picking up. So we're going to start with what 3 areas had the most market time in Q1. Number 1, now this will be surprising you. Number 1 is near North Side. So we just had the highest average selling price there. The average market time was the highest for single family homes at 447 days. That is what the average single family is taking to sell in the near North Side. Number 2 is West Garfield Park at 396 days for a single family home to sell. And number 3 is Kenwood at 362 days on average to sell. With West Garfield Park, Kenwood, those areas have had a lot of interest recently, and I think what happened is that sellers got a little bit too excited. They put the prices a little bit too high. That's just what happens. You price something too high, it's going to sit, and it's going to take longer to sell. Now, what's really interesting to me is in Q1, which areas, 3 areas had the quickest, meaning the least amount of time to sell when a house came on the market. For the top 3 areas for the least market time for single family homes, number 1 was Washington Park at 11 days. Washington Park is just west of Hyde Park. So University of Chicago has been putting a lot of money into the redevelopment of that area, and you're starting to see that whole south side area starting to really blow up. All of those areas are seeing quick market times, heightened prices, and so what's happening is that Washington Park being just west of Hyde Park, I think people are starting to recognize that growth is coming and they're starting to buy. So at 11 days was the average market time for a single family home to sell. Number 2 is Edgewater. Edgewater took 24 days on average to sell a single family home. And number 3 was Archer Heights, which is 25 days. Another area of strong interest. It goes right along the river, just southwest of McKinley Park and Bridgeport. So those are your top 3 areas. These are some areas to really watch. Edgewater is on the up and up. It's been slumped for a little while, so I was happy to see that market times have gone down. But also Archer Heights, very interesting because you're starting to see all of the development on the southwest branch of the river kind of come along, so that doesn't surprise me at all. Now, where people are most interested in my predictions for the biggest opportunities for single family homes in Q2, Q3 of 2023. Number 1 will be the most significant change of market time from Q4 to Q1, meaning from Q4 to Q1, which areas had the biggest downshift of market time. So where in Q4, a house would sell for, let's call it 100 days, and then in Q1 it would take 10 days. That would be something very significant for me to see, just because there would be such a big discrepancy with how much quicker they were selling in Q1. That to me brings up that it's a potential opportunity area going into Q2. So that's something we're going to be watching for. And number two, we're going to look at the largest jump in sales price from Q4 to Q1, so that you can see where those trends are going or where people are spending the most money quicker. So from Q4 to Q1, for the market time that was the quickest to sell from Q4 to Q1 relatively, number one was North Lawndale. It sold 307% faster in Q1 than the houses did in Q4. It went from down to 30 days from originally 122 days. North Lawndale has been an area of interest and strong growth in the last about 6 to 12 months, so that doesn't surprise me. Number two is Kenwood at 209% faster. Went from 362 days in Q4 to now 117 days on average in Q1. So that is a very quick pace. And then number three is Oakland at 170% faster. It went down to 56 days from 151 days in Q4. So you're starting to see that south side area really starting to pop off, as we have been seeing the trend, and it continues ever more so into Q1 of 2023. So those are three areas if you're looking to buy a single family home and you want to buy in a good potential area of quick growth. That is somewhere to watch. Now, the most significant jump in average sales prices for single family homes. Number one, we had Woodlawn is up 69% in Q1 from Q4. The average selling price for a single family home there was $556,000, to kind of give you a reference. Number two, Lincoln Square, up 62% from Q4 to Q1. Big jump. Average sales price was over $1.1 million for a single family home. Lincoln Square's rise in the last 10 years has just been something outrageous, and it continues in Q1 as well. So obviously a much higher price point there, but that is a quickened area of growth. Andersonville, all of those areas right there, somewhere to watch. A lot of my buyers have been looking, and it is very difficult to find a single family home there. But if you do find one, expect to pay up more money, and also potentially a great area to invest in as growth is showing to continue. And number three is Riverdale, up 48%. The average sales price for a single family home there was south of $75,000. So that is your top three average sales price growths for single family homes in the Q1 area. Now, we're going to be talking about attached condos, units that are in high rises, mid rises, walk ups. Those are the units we're going to be talking about. The top three average sales prices in Q1 for condos in the city. Number one was Lincoln Park, no surprise, $642,000, just about there. Number two is near North Side at $601,000. And number three was near West Side at $563,000. So all three areas, of course, have been showing strong growth over the last forever, and they continue to do so as being the most expensive place to buy a condo in the city. Top three. Now, market time. Which three areas had the most market time for condos in the city? Number one was Morgan Park. That took 323 days on average to sell a condo in Morgan Park in Q1. So Morgan Park is right next to West Pullman. I personally believe that the growth of Pullman has excited sellers, and they would just put the prices a little bit too high, and then they would not back off on their selling price. Everything is supply and demand, and buyers will always buy, but they need to buy at the right price. So Morgan Park has shown a heightened number of days to sell at 323. Number two is North Lawndale at 236 days, and Belmont Cragen came in at number three at 227 days. Both North Lawndale and Belmont Cragen had shown a lot of growth, so I think same thing happened as Morgan Park. Sellers just came in too hot, prices were too high, and it took too long to sell. The top three areas that had the least amount of market time, meaning house and condos were going quicker than everywhere else in the city. Number one was Hermosa at 5 days on average. It took a condo to sell in Q1. Number two was West Pullman at 7 days to sell, which is what we were just talking about with Morgan Park. I think sellers are just too excited. But West Pullman took 7 days to sell, continues to be a very hot area for condos. And number 3 was Ashburn at 11 days. Ashburn, very close to Beverly. So I think what's happening is people are seeing Beverly is getting very expensive, and so people are starting to buy in and around the area there. My predictions for condo opportunities in Q2, Q3 by looking at the most significant change in market time from Q4 to Q1, meaning things sold quicker in Q1 than it did in Q4, faster than everywhere else in the city. That's my first metric. And number 2 is the largest jump in average sales prices going from Q4 to Q1. So let's get into it. First is going to be the most significant market time change from Q4 to Q1. Number 1 is McKinley Park. The houses there sold 80% faster. Came down to 16 days from an average of 82 days. So McKinley Park is showing a lot of quickened growth there. Number 2 is Jefferson Park. It's 74% faster, down to 13 days from 50 days on average. So it took 13 days to sell a condo in Jefferson Park in Q1 when it took 50 days to sell in Q4 there. And then Beverly sold 74% faster in Q1 than it did in Q4, down to 29 days from 100 days. All of these areas are not surprising to me when it comes to an area where a lot of interest is going, a lot of people are talking about it. If you're thinking about buying a condo, those 3 areas are ones to keep a close eye on and jump on if there's something that's good. McKinley Park, Jefferson Park, and Beverly. Number 3 for highest average selling prices, you have Fuller Park up 69% for the highest significant jump in average sales price in Q1. The average condo there is $232,000. Number 2 is Austin, is up 62% at $183,000. Austin is an area of Chicago that is literally just east of Oak Park. It's got a bad rep in the recent few years, but I'm really happy to see that Austin is on the up and up, and people are coming in, moving in, and buying condos quicker there. Very, very happy to see that. Also, you're right next to Oak Park, so there's a lot of fun stuff, a lot of great stuff going on over there. Number 3, Humboldt Park, up 54% to an average of $234,000. This is next to Bronzeville. Bronzeville obviously has been very hot. The south side area in general is very hot, so you're starting to see a lot of these areas going and changing, and in a very rapid pace, people are starting to move in there to find better opportunities and better opportunity for growth. So those are the 3 areas if you're looking on average sales price to buy a condo. If you find something great, jump on it. Fuller Park, Austin, and Humboldt Park. Now we're going to be talking about multi-units. So these 3 areas had the highest average sales price for a multi-unit in Q1 of 2023. Number 1 is Arbor Square at just over $1 million. Number 2 is Lincoln Park at $976,000, and number 3 was Edgewater at $950,000. I'm actually surprised because overall those numbers for multi-units are down. I think people are just having a hard time finding good deals. So people are actually seeing a little bit more restricted on their buying power for multi-units. Now, market time. These 3 areas had the highest time to sell a multi-unit in Q1 for Chicago. Number 1 was Grand Boulevard, just south of Bronzeville at 178 days. Again, I think it got too hot, too fast. Sellers came in thinking that they could charge way too much money than what a buyer is willing to pay. And then you're starting to see that on the amount of days on market, 178 days to sell a multi-unit in Grand Boulevard. Lower West Side took 170 days, and then Chatham took 151 days to sell an average multi-unit. Chatham had a ton of interest, lots of stuff going on there, and I think, again, too much hype. Got the prices way too fast, way too quick. Growth needed to be slowed down, so buyers pulled back on their ability or wanting to buy in those prices. Now, the least 3 market times for multi-units in Q1. Number 1 was Garfield Park, took 2 days on average to sell a multi-unit there. That's going, again, just southwest along the river where McKinley, Archer Heights is. So you're starting to see all of that interest flow down. So people are buying those multi-units. They're seeing all of that action, all of those renters willing to move quicker, and values are going up. So Garfield Ridge, if you can find a multi-unit there, jump on it, buy it. So that is a great area to buy a multi-unit. Number 2, Clearing, just south of Garfield. It took about 10 days to sell a multi-unit there, and that was in Q1. And number 3 was Dunning, 11 days to sell just west of Portage. very, very popular area. So I think if people are coming in, they're buying in the areas that have already been kind of overhyped to look at the next opportunity. So Garfield Ridge, Clearing, Dunning, 3 great areas to buy a multi-unit in Q2, Q3. Looking at the most significant jump in market time, meaning it took it much quicker for multi-units to sell in Q1 than Q4, and number 2 was the largest average sales price from Q4 to Q1. Those are my 2 factors that showcase to me where it might be a really good opportunity area to buy a multi-unit. Number 1, for the quickest and most significant change in market time, number 1 was Garfield Ridge. Sold 89% faster in Q1 than they did in Q4, down from 2 days from 18 days, so not really was crazy anyways, but still very, very quick. Again, along the river going southwest, away from Archer Heights and McKinley. So that is still continuing to be a very hot area of interest. Number 2 was Calumet Heights, sold 84% faster, down to 19 days from 122. Just south of South Shore, everything is continuing to grow. A lot of people are seeing opportunities there. And Uptown, 61% faster, down to 28 days from 71 days. So Garfield Ridge, Calumet Heights, Uptown, great place to look for multi-units if you're looking to buy. Number 2, highest jump in average sales price from Q4 to Q1. Number 1 was West Lawn, up 189%. The average multi-unit price there, by the way, is $399,000. Great growth potential, great price point to enter for a multi-unit in the Chicago area. Something to really look into is West Lawn right now. Number 2, Garfield Ridge, up 79%. We keep talking about Garfield Ridge, but it's a really good thing that when something keeps popping up in an opportunity buy, then you probably should listen up. So it's up 79% to an average of $628,000 for a multi-unit. Again, a really good buy-in price right now. When you're talking about number 3, which is Armour Square, up 75% to an average of just over $1 million. So multi-units in Chicago very quickly get into the millions. So buy them before they are. West Lawn, Garfield Ridge, those are 2 areas of strong interest, strong growth. Also Armour Square, continuously showing strong growth in the multi-unit sector. If you're looking to invest by buying a multi-unit, the average price is $950,000. Minimum is $600,000 and maximum is $1.5 million. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this information. I hope that you have found some interesting data points and that you can use this in your personal search if either you're looking to buy, invest in the Chicago area in 2023. If you found this at all interesting, please like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. I'm always putting out good content. I'd love to keep you informed in how the Chicago real estate market is going and how everything is turning out. I would love to continue to give you this good information, and I'd love to stay in touch. Also, check out my other videos. There is lots of playlists. There are specific unique videos that come out to specifically the type of opportunity buys, different types of categories. So please play around in the bio and let me know if I can ever answer any questions for you. Thank you for watching and hope to catch you soon.